I'm just telling you time and time again, I talk to home sellers leaving the Kissimmee marketplace, and this is what they tell me over and over again. So if you have any deal breakers like these with regards to the area that you're looking to move to, I'm gonna warn you now, do not move to Kissimmee. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Kissimmee, Florida. Most people cannot pronounce the name, so as a local, I'm helping you right from the jump. But when you consider areas around the state, particularly the Orlando metro area, few have as much rich history and natural beauty as the Kissimmee, Florida marketplace. And I will tell you, the cons are things that you really should consider, because as great as Kissimmee can be, it's certainly not for everybody. Why should you care what I have to say? Well, number one, I notice there's a lot of misinformation about this particular marketplace. Number two, I've sold nearly 4,000 homes. You get a real estate expert on your side, and I'm really well known for wearing the anti-realtor cap. I'm the guy who will come out and say the hard things that sometimes cost me a real estate transaction. I'm not gonna be all roses and positive about specific cities in this marketplace if there are some downsides that you should be warned about. And if you appreciate that kind of candor, jump down and smash the like button so we can get as many people to see this update as possible. If you're new to the channel, not only do I do a lot of deep dive pros and cons type videos like this around the Orlando metro, but on a nearly daily basis, I'm updating you on the market data for the major cities in the Orlando market. So if that's for you, consider subscribing to the channel so that whether you're looking to buy, invest here, or you own a house here already, you can stay the expert in your market just by watching, because area by area, nobody is doing a better job keeping you apprised of the market changes and things in real time. But enough of that, let's talk about Kissimmee. Now, you've heard me say this before, that Central Florida was really well known in the early 1800s for vastly being a swampland. Obviously, the area was home to Florida natives, but a lot of this area was largely unusable in the way that you see it is today. The region was swampland, part of the headwaters of the Everglades, dotted with pine wood and palmetto prairies. Native American groups, including the Seminole Indians, found refuge in these swamps, fleeing to the Kissimmee River Valley for its defensible positions. Now, before the Civil War, few settlers ventured this far south to what is now known as Orlando. Now, sure, there were cattlemen that would venture down south towards lands that was high enough for cattle to actually walk through and not get stuck in marshy water. But it wasn't until after the war that people really started to venture here, and you had both veterans of the Confederate and the Union armies both making their way here, trying to seek and find a fortune out of the north. In 1881, Hamilton Diston purchased 4 million acres of land for 25 cents an acre. He began transforming the Kissimmee Valley by dredging canals and draining swamplands. The small settlement of Allendale became Kissimmee City, a burgeoning hub of commerce and trade. And by 1884, Kissimmee was incorporated and connected by steamboats and railroads to other major cities. Now get this, in 1887, Osceola County was created and Kissimmee was made its county seat. In just 3 years from that time, the population in Kissimmee tripled, and by 1890, we finally had electricity to the area, with initial rates costing 3 cents an hour or $7.50 per month. Now today, Kissimmee Utility Authority says that's just fake news. It's always really been around $200 to $300 per month here. Kissimmee became a major cattle shipping center, thanks to its vast grasslands and the establishment of railroads. The first Chamber of Commerce was elected in 1924, and the Cattlemen's Association was established 10 years later. The community thrived even during the Great Depression by neighbors helping each other. Wow, some things never change. Now, during World War II, Kissimmee honored many local heroes such as Clarence B. Thacker. Thacker flew over 50 missions in the B-17 Flying Fortress, which he nicknamed Kissimmee Cowboy, earning the Silver Star in 1943. Obviously, those of you local know that there's a street named after Thacker right down the middle of Kissimmee. Now, after the war, surprise, Kissimmee's focus turned on tourism. The city's lakes and rivers drew tourists, and the rise of the automobile brought residents. The cattle industry remained vital, reflecting Kissimmee's enduring agricultural traditions. But Kissimmee would change like never before when a man named Walt Disney envisioned a Florida theme park for his already successful California venture. In the 1960s, after secretive land acquisitions, Disney selected a vast site near Kissimmee for his new theme park. In 1971, Walt Disney World opened, bringing unprecedented growth to the region. Over the decades from the 70s to the 80s, Kissimmee's population grew from just 1,100 residents to nearly 16,000 residents by the 80s. And by 1990, it doubled again to over 30,000 residents. Now today, as you can imagine, Kissimmee's home to more than 80,000 residents. And the city continues to grow, blending its rich history with modern development. But we nailed down the history. What's it like to live here? Well, first, let's talk about the area amenities. Kissimmee boasts beautiful parks like Kissimmee Lakefront Park and Shingle Creek Regional Park. These parks offer picturesque walking trails, playgrounds, and picnic areas, perfect for family outings. Shingle Creek is also a haven for nature lovers with opportunities for kayaking and birdwatching. Now, as you can imagine, having beautiful, vast parks and massive lakes like Kissimmee does, there's a lot of locals who love fishing, who love outdoorsmanship, and just love outdoor sport in general. And I personally love driving down Kissimmee's lakefront area and seeing some of the older streets there with homes that have been around for more than 100 years sitting across from the lake. Families love spending time here, whether it's walking along serene trails, enjoying a day by the lake, or engaging in various outdoor activities. These parks provide a tranquil escape from the hustle and bustle of daily life. Now, much like a lot of the areas around Central Florida, you'll notice that downtown Kissimmee has its own Main Street corridor, which has amazingly changed. I remember as a young boy getting my haircut at one of the little barbershops there. Now to find out there's like 5 different barbershops and salons, but that's not it. The Main Street area seems to be a hub for people to enjoy the afternoon, the evening, the nightlife. It's a short stroll away from Lakefront Park, and there's a lot to do and see in this particular street now. Kissimmee is home to several iconic locations. The Monument of the States, Kissimmee Gateway Airport, and the historic downtown Kissimmee add to the city's unique charm. Now, looking towards Kissimmee's future, you have groundbreaking projects and major investment coming into the market here at Neo City. This development aims to transform the area into a hub of technology and innovation, focusing on advanced manufacturing, smart sensors, and photonics. Neo City spans over 500 acres and is projected to create more than 100,000 jobs. For families, Kissimmee offers good schools with high-performing STEM programs and diverse educational opportunities. The city also has reliable healthcare facilities to ensure the well-being of its residents. For entertainment, Kissimmee has plenty to offer. Obviously, this particular area sits on the doorstep of Disney. So if a convenient commute to Walt Disney Parks isn't on your list, you also have tons of other things like Old Town and Kissimmee, many different smaller parks featuring amusement rides, shopping, and vintage car displays. The Loop is another popular spot with numerous stores, dining options, and a movie theater. The Loop features 70 stores and restaurants, providing a wide variety of shopping and dining experiences. All right, everybody, I've psyched you up with the history. You now know what it is to experience the lifestyle, but pros and cons. Does this one check all the boxes? Does it hit any of your deal breakers? Let's find out. Number 1 pro, low cost of living. Compared to other cities in Florida and the rest of the country, Kissimmee offers a relatively low cost of living with house prices about 34% than the national average here. This is an attractive option for those looking to save on living expenses. So you move to Florida, your house costs you a little more, your property taxes are a little lower than they are up north, and then if you can remote work to some high-income job in New Jersey or New York, you have no state income tax here in Florida. Number 3, we have pleasant weather, but we're far enough inland to avoid crazy storms. Now, the average temperature in Kissimmee is around 72 degrees year-round. Now, for sure, in the summertime, it's definitely muggy and it's hot, but one of the major concerns most folks have when they move to Florida is how close to a hurricane am I going to get? How dangerous will it be for me to live in the area? And I will tell you, this far inland, the most of the time, unless you can avoid an area prone to flooding, you're really only going to see maybe some wind damage of some type where downed power lines might knock your power out for maybe a day or two. Number 4, entertainment and attractions. Now, obviously you saw the list earlier. That was only a partial list. Kissimmee's home to things like the Silver Spurs Rodeo, Fun Spot America, and obviously it's a very convenient drive to Universal Studios, SeaWorld, or Disney World. There's never a shortage of things to do when you live in Kissimmee. Number 5, diversity. If you crave a world where your neighbor has a different history than you, Kissimmee will be a great option. It is a very diverse community, making it a vibrant place to live and giving you a variety of options of food, culture options, and things of that nature. All right, now the cons of living in Kissimmee, and there are a few. Number one, higher potential crime where you live. So one of the things I would encourage you to do is look at site resources like crimegrade.org. There is crime everywhere all across the US, but sources providing crime data do report that Kissimmee has a higher than average crime rate across the area. Number two is traffic and road construction. So one of the things that is kind of challenging is there are some weird spots in Kissimmee where you can be very far from a freeway system that gets you out of the area. Now this is not uniform across every marketplace in Kissimmee, but there are some spots where you can be in bumper to bumper traffic every single day for many traffic lights because the feeder roads to the community you live in might be significantly far away from a faster freeway road to get you in and out of the area. I think of middle and middle south Kissimmee. Some of these areas can have a stressful daily commute and some people just are not up for that. But if you're a remote worker, you might not care. One thing to consider too is typically these types of properties are going to be priced a little bit lower than others, knowing that demand for these homes is going to be a little different than others in the area that might be closer to the freeway. Number three is tourist crowds. So if you live on the west side of Kissimmee or center west, you're going to be in an area that is going to see a lot more compressed traffic and a lot more folks at the stores and restaurants that you frequent because there's going to be a lot of visitors to the area, particularly in summer months and sometimes in holiday season. Now I will say Central East, Northeast, and even Southeast parts of Kissimmee, most guests do not travel this far away from the theme parks, so that would not be an obstacle for you. And the last point I will make is that there's an elevated poverty rate in the Kissimmee marketplace. And this can affect the overall quality of life and impact some access to resources for some residences. Now, my goal was to give you a balanced view for you to consider if you are thinking about making Kissimmee your next home. I'm not against Kissimmee. I actually really like Kissimmee. I enjoy it. It's nostalgic for me because I grew up east from this area. Many of my friends when I was a child lived in the Kissimmee marketplace. I even went to school there for a time. But I will tell you, if you are considering buying in the area, there's some great spots, like great, amazing, one-of-a-kind places to live in the Kissimmee market. But there are also some places where, depending on what you're open to or what you're up for in your next purchase, you might absolutely be miserable having purchased there. Which is a perfect segue to tell you if you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, I'm like the eHarmony of Kissimmee. If you're a seller, I have many buyers watching this channel looking to buy a home just like yours. And if you're a buyer, you obviously understand that I have vast experience to help you make sure that you buy your home right the first time. That's it for now. We'll see you on the next one.